everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today we're doing another pattern in our free pattern sewing series. We're making the Southeast Travel Pouch by Handmade. Which we've got here. It's a cutie. It is clear and it's made for clear and jelly vinyl. And I'm still sort of smushing that. So it's got a really big opening. It's meant to hold your items when traveling, or it's good for the beach. It's summertime. So we did a little different in the pattern. This would be a clear vinyl, but we went with jelly all the way around, and for no real reason, just because I like it. I like sewing with the jelly. So we did make that change. I do talk about all the materials that we use in the video, and that will be coming up soon. And yeah, let's get into it. It's listed as a beginner pattern, and I will tell you, I don't know if anything clear or jelly vinyl is really beginner friendly. I do think it's a skill builder, and so I think that that's important to add to your arsenal. And the fact that it's a free pattern is perfect, because if you've never done anything with clear or jelly vinyl before, it's great to practice on a pattern that you don't have to pay for, basically. And I love free patterns because you can learn about the designers and how they write and see if you like their style of pattern writing or style of patterns, and it's just a great way to get to know people. I think that this is a skill builder. You'll see in the video, but I broke a needle on my machine making this, and so you'll see me struggle a little bit with it, and I think that that's important. I don't like to cut those things out because I think that that's real, and that's always what I enjoyed about watching tutorials, is the realness of what happens when people sew. So there's that. Yeah, so let's hop right into it and see what we got going on today. So our materials for this are pretty minimal. We have 2 cuts of our main panels, and this is a clear TPU from Itchin' to Get Stitchin'. I don't think they sell TPU anymore, but I'll still link you to the general page, and you can do some research. I like the TPU. It's better for my machine. You could do PVC if you wanted. And then we have our Gusset panel out of jelly vinyl, and this is a mint from Oh So Pretty Custom Fabric. Now, the pattern has you using clear vinyl for the zipper panels, but we're going to go with jelly. See how it comes out. So we have 2 of our mint jelly zipper panels. We have 1 5-inch zipper tape, and this is just from a roll from Amazon, so I'll link this below also. And we're going to go with 2 zipper pulls, number 5. Then we have our 2 cuts of webbing. This is the lavender 1-inch webbing from Wonderground Fabrics. And then we have our double fold bias tape for our binding. So if you've watched before, you've seen this is what I typically use. Super easy. So we are going to bind. You don't have to. When we're sewing, I'll walk you through. If you're not binding, you're going to finish faster, basically. But I like to bind. I like the finish of it, and it's good practice. This is a beginner-friendly, easy bag. There's not a lot of pieces, and so binding on it's going to be super simple as well. And this is it. This is all we need for our project today. So let's head on over to the machine and get going. Okay, so we are at the machine, the Juki TL2010Q, as usual. And I did forget to show, we're using our Heartwood and Hide cork bag tag. So I did go ahead and sew that on already. I also marked the centers on the top and the bottom of both of the main panels. And I went ahead and measured out per the pattern where we need to attach our handles. And so we're just going to baste our handles on before we go on to build the zipper and the gusset piece. And basting, again, it's just an 1/8 of an inch away from the top, and it's just enough so that you can ensure they stay where you want them to when you actually sew the whole thing together. So that's our prep work, basically. Now we're going to start to build the bag. It is super quick. So, see, there we go. And then we're going to have little carrying handles. It's quick and fun. I'm excited. Okay, so we have our zipper panels, and then we have our zipper, and I just cut my zipper a little longer than the panels, which is, if you watched me before, you know that's typically what I do. And we're just going to throw a few clips. And so this is the jelly vinyl, so there is no right or wrong side. They're both exactly the same. So you're just putting one side down against the zipper tape. And then we're going to sew it on. We're going to flip and do a top stitch and do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're attached now, and we're just going to finger press, and we're going to have to take it slow and sort of finger press all the way down as we go, and that will ensure that we get a nice top stitch. You just want to make sure that everything stays behind where you're stitching. And top stitch is an 1/8 of an inch, just like a basting stitch, but this is the stitch that everyone's going to see. So you just want to take it slow, go at your pace. Keep making sure everything's lined up the way you want it. Jelly can be hard to fold over, so keep that in mind. Alright, so there we go. Top stitched. And I always just trim as I go. Also, if I see something. And now with our second one, we just want to ensure, since our zipper is longer, that we match up the ends of our jelly so that they are going to match up when we put our gusset on. And you could, again, the pattern does have this part with clear, so you could absolutely do that. And then it's got like a little jelly line that you add to it. I like jelly. I like it. I also find it easier to attach jelly to clear vinyl instead of clear vinyl to clear vinyl, and so when I can, I do try to do it that way. Do a little finger press all the way down. And then we'll take it and top stitch just like we did before, nice and slow. Making sure that we're flipping and smushing. All right, there we go. Second top stitch complete. Now we're going to add our zipper pulls before we forget, because that's a thing. If you have never forgotten a zipper pull, you will. Soon, I'm sure. The more you sew, the more you, the higher likelihood of you forgetting to do this. I swear when I was just starting, I paid way more attention to putting the zipper pulls on than I do now. So, okay. And zipper pulls they never get easier, but you just take the end that has the little triangle piece and you put one side in and then the other, and you just make sure they line up. And when you're putting two on, it's not such a big deal because you won't have any bumps in the middle. And then you just bring them together like so. All right. Now we will, I don't know where my zipper tape scissors are. So we're just going to cut off the ends and we're just doing a little burn so that our zipper tape doesn't fray over time. All right. Now we want to take our gusset, and again, there's no right or wrong side, and we are just lining up with the ends and right in the middle, because our gusset is a little wider than our zipper panel, and so we're just going for right in the middle. We should be fine with that. And you do want to follow the seam allowance in the pattern when you're attaching the gusset, because it'll matter when you go to put it around your main panels. We're just trimming. You could bind this edge here. I am not going to, but you could. We're going to bind our main panels, so don't think it's that big of a deal. So now what we're going to do is turn this over, fold it down, and then we're top stitching across our seam. We're just taking our time over the parts that are chunky. there we go. I see it, okay. All right, now we're taking, so with our zipper side up, we're taking the other end of our gusset, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put it right in the middle of our zipper panels. And sew together, just like we did before. And here, because we're not using anything to cover this up, I'm just making sure all of our threads are burnt so that they won't fray either. And we're just going to turn the whole thing press apart and do a nice little top stitch. And that noise you hear is just, it's the jelly sort of rubbing up against the metal. It's pretty sticky and humid here, so I think it's a little bit of that. All right, there we go. So now we're just gonna find the middle. We're going to trim our little top stitch. Okay. So to find the middle, you just line up your gusset. And then we're going to do a little snip. And we're going to do that for the top and the bottom. So we're making 4 snips all together. All right, there we go. Now we can bring our panels back over. And we're putting our bag together already. See how fast that is? Super fast. All right. So you want your gusset, you want to turn it inside out. And so then the correct side is on the inside. So the right side is in, and you're going to attach the right side to the right side of your main panel, and you're just going to match up those midpoints that you marked. And we're going to go all the way across the straight parts, basically until we get to the corners. We're going to do that on the top and the bottom, and then we'll work our way into the corners. So same thing here, you're matching up your center markings. Clipping together. We're going to clip all the way to the corners. Okay. This actually looks like it fits together pretty well. We are going to make just some clips so that our jelly lies a little flatter, but it's looking like it's lining up. So that's exciting. All right, so this is what we're looking at. And now we just want to basically ease our corners in. And I'm still just leaving the very corner pieces to the end, and I am doing that on purpose. I'm just gonna snip ever so slightly, and this is just to make it so that the jelly will sort of expand over. Without making any sort of creases, because we don't want any sort of buckling. Sorry for my arm. If my arm is in the way, guys, I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we've made snips, and it will help sort of ease the jelly over. At least I hope so. It should. It should. All right, we're gonna go for it. So you're gonna sew gusset side up. I like to start over here pretty much all the time when I'm binding. All right, I'm gonna use my screwdriver. And maybe you have like a tool or a stiletto or something. I just like the flatness of the screwdriver. I feel like it helps me. I don't know if it actually does or not, but I feel like it does, and I think that's half the battle. So I only put one snip over here. I'm basically just sort of manipulating the jelly as I go to try to get out as many of those like wrinkly areas as possible. so up here I didn't cut any slits. So I guess we're trying to see what's going to work the best for us. And I don't know the answer. This is the first one of these I've made. And so maybe nothing will work best. We'll see. We'll see how this baby comes out. I don't think the no slits worked, so I am just going to cut a couple in here. See if that works out better for us. All right, we're manipulating a significant amount. I think we're gonna end up with wrinkles. We'll see what we can do. Well, that wasn't good. All right, guys, I'm gonna reset my needle and we will come back together. All right, we are back. We have a fresh needle and we're gonna keep going. I don't like to edit those things out because I think it's so important just to recognize that broken needles happen to all of us. So it happens. I just don't want to make you guys watch me fix it or yell, which I do sometimes. All right, so we're gonna try again. And really, we're just here on the finishing corner, of course. So I'm gonna try my best. We're gonna try our best together. See what happens. See what it looks like when we turn it and how we can fix it. That is where I'm at with it. That's okay with me. Remember, we still have to bind this bag, so I'm not super concerned. Let's see what we look like on the outside. And we're just going to do a quick flip. Okay, definitely not bad. Looks way worse on the inside than on the outside. So see, you can't really tell what's going on in the corners. We're good. I'm okay with that. So now what we want to do is attach our binding, and this will help also with our stitching because we're basically just going to go around and do another round of stitching. So again, like we have these bunches, but they are not noticeable when you turn the bag. So whew, thankful for that. I would say probably my gusset is maybe slightly too long or too big. It fits too well and I don't know how to do that. But I could have, you know, my seam allowance is a little wonky. So this is definitely a personal error, not an error on the pattern. If you follow instructions better than I do, you'll probably be better off than me. Okay, so now we're gonna do our binding and then we'll attach our other side and then we're gonna be all done. I just wanna make sure our binding is gonna be wide enough to cover up there. It looks like I'm just gonna do a little trim. Just to make sure we have enough space and that we cover all of our stitches. Okay, that should be good. That should do it. Now I always attach binding starting at the bottom. I don't know why, but I do. This should be a little easier to sew for us too because it is not going to stick, even though it's sticky in here. That's important. Just a little bit of overhang. It's in the 90s and like 80% humidity, so it's toasty. I also don't like to run a fan when I'm filming because it makes a lot of background noise, and so it's actually extra toasty. It's not good. I'm sure that's not helping the sewing situation with these materials. And I didn't think about that before we sat down today, so something to think about, your environment. We're almost there though. Almost. Okay. Again, so I'm just cutting off anything that's sort of overhanging and that's gonna interfere too much with our binding. And we do that just so that it's pretty much even all around. So there are some areas where I went over or I cut the jelly and it's overhanging. And so I'm just making sure that we're cutting that off. I'm so excited about this little bag. You know, like when you're making something, you're like, oh, it's going to be so cute. I can't wait for it to be done. That's where I'm at. I like the pastel colors that we're using today. Now, you could also use fold over elastic for your binding or waterproof canvas. You could cut your own out of fabric, whatever works for you. I really like the double fold bias tape because it's pretty much done for you. And you don't really have to worry about making it or ensuring it's not going to fray or anything like that. So this is pretty much what I use in almost all my videos. All right, so there we go. So we just have our binding all the way around and it's covering up all of our stitch marks. So we're going to go ahead and sew this on at the same seam allowance that we just used. And that will make sure that we cover everything we need to. Just readjusting here. All right. And we just want to make sure that our binding is staying underneath when we're sewing and not slipping off our material. And we're using white binding because we're using white thread. And you know, one of the things I love about binding is that you don't have to be super particular about how your stitches look because you'll never see them. Taking our time around the corners. So we just want to make sure we still get everything and that it comes out looking nice. This is our treble corner, so we're just gonna take it nice and slow. We don't want to make any more creases than we already did. Okay, here we go. Binding is sewn on. And so the last step before we turn out, and we will turn out together, is just making sure that we burn our edges, we burn our thread. And then we're gonna attach the back panel in exactly the same way that we attach the front panel. And then we will come back together and turn out our bag. All right, all done. I'm still smushing. Binding is awesome because it's like a spine, but you just go smush it so that it looks good. So it takes a little bit of time, but we're all done, you guys. This bag was so easy to turn also, which is gonna make it really easy to clean because the zipper opening, it's so big. I'm such a big fan. I am going to practice more with this pattern. You saw I struggled a little bit, and that's okay. There are some patterns that I struggle with more than some other folks that I see, and then there are some patterns that I can do pretty much in my sleep. And so it's your comfort level and what you got going on. This was new to me, so I was excited to make it with you guys, and I actually really enjoy how it turned out. Like I said, I'm still smushing, but look at how cute. Best day ever. So cute. We got our little pastel colors going on. Like I said, it's a giant zipper. Big fan. I think you should try it. If you are a beginner, just understand that don't get frustrated, and if you do get frustrated, that's okay. Just keep going with it. Try something new. Try something fun. You can make it all jelly too, if you're brand new and really just trying to start out and see what you like. I think it's easier to sew with jelly than totally clear, so that's just something that I've found on my travels through materials. But yeah, so I hope that you'll make this. I hope you'll try it. It is a free pattern, so I mean, why not? Go ahead and grab it. Check out some of the other awesome patterns there on the page. I have a few others that I'll be doing here soon from Hills Handmade, because I am a big fan overall. So thank you so much for joining me today as we made this super cute Southeast travel pouch. I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you soon.